Hey, so I don't know if you guys saw this week, Paul George, of all people, got suspended for 25 games for the use of improper medication. That's what they're calling it.
Paul George is suspended for 25 games. That is the main point. No rumors, no debate about that part. The league made it official. The suspension started right away. No delay, no warning. Just like that, one of the biggest names in the NBA was removed from the court for more than 2 months. For a player making over $50 million this season, that is not just a small issue. That is a massive moment. The NBA said he violated the league's anti-drug program. They did not name the substance. They never do. That is part of the policy. But the number of games tells the story. A 25-game suspension is the standard penalty for a first violation involving performance-related banned substances. That is serious. This is not about marijuana. That was removed from the banned list years ago. This is not about something minor. The league views this as a major violation. The timing made it even bigger. Just days before the announcement, Paul George had one of his best games of the season.
Stuff like this should not happen because they give you the booklet that says don't take this, and this, the letter of the law. Do not take any of these things. And when you've been in the league this long, you know what it is.
He dropped over 30 points and hit 9 three-pointers. He looked sharp. He looked confident. He looked like the old Paul George again. Then suddenly, the suspension news dropped. That raised eyebrows across the league. Philadelphia was sitting in a strong position in the Eastern Conference. The team had momentum. Joel Embiid was playing at a high level. Tyrese Maxey was growing into a star. Paul George was supposed to be the final piece. The big three looked real. Then 1/3 of that trio disappeared overnight. There was no press conference from the league explaining details. There was no breakdown of what exactly happened. Just a short announcement and the number 25. That number hit hard. It means he misses games. It means he loses money. It means his team must adjust fast. Paul George released a statement soon after. He said he had been dealing with personal issues. He said he had been open about mental health struggles in the past. He explained that he took an improper medication while seeking treatment. He said it was his mistake. He apologized to his family, his teammates, the organization, and the fans. He said he would come back better. The statement was calm and controlled. He did not blame anyone else. He did not attack the league. He accepted responsibility. But even with that, questions did not stop. Many people focused on one detail. Why was the medication not cleared with the league first? The NBA has something called a therapeutic use exemption. If a player needs a certain medication for real medical reasons, they can apply for approval. If approved, they can use it without punishment. That process exists to protect players. But from what is known, Paul George did not have that exemption in place before taking the medication. That is where the criticism grew louder. Fans and analysts asked the same question. How does a veteran player making over $50 million...
The money lost is huge. His salary this season is about $51 million. That breaks down to nearly $500,000 per game. Multiply that by 25 games, and he loses close to $12 million. That is not small. That is life-changing money, even for someone already rich. But the bigger loss may be time. Paul George is 35 years old. He has dealt with injuries in the past. He has missed games. He has had ups and downs in the playoffs. Time is not unlimited for him. Missing 25 games means losing rhythm. It means coming back late in the season with little time to adjust before the playoffs. When he returns, he will have only about 10 regular season games left before the postseason begins. 10 games to get back into shape. 10 games to rebuild chemistry. 10 games to regain confidence. That is not much. The Sixers now have to adjust. Nick Nurse must find new rotations. More pressure falls on Embiid and Maxey. Role players must step up. Kelly Oubre Jr. and others will see more minutes. The front office may explore trades to add depth. There is also a strange financial twist. Because of the suspension, Philadelphia saves some money on luxury tax payments. Reports say the team could save over $5 million. That gives them a bit more flexibility. But no team wants to lose a star just to save tax money. The goal is championships, not accounting tricks. The reaction around the league was strong. On television shows, analysts debated the situation non-stop. Some believed his explanation, some did not. Some felt the mental health reasoning was fair, others felt it was too vague. One big issue is the lack of detail. Paul George said he took an improper medication, but he did not name it. The league did not name it. That silence creates space for speculation. When information is missing, people create their own answers. On social media, rumors spread fast. Some guessed it was a stimulant, some guessed it was something stronger, others defended him and said people should not jump to conclusions. The truth is, no one outside the league and his inner circle knows the exact substance. The NBA keeps these cases confidential. That protects players.
John Collins was suspended 25 games. Tristan Thompson faced the same penalty. Bobby Portis was suspended as well. The pattern is familiar. Player gets caught, statement is released, the league moves on. Some fans argue the league does not want too many big stars suspended because it hurts business. That idea has existed for years. The NBA depends on star power, but the rules are written clearly. When a violation is confirmed, the suspension follows. Mental health in the NBA has become an important topic in recent years. Players like DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love spoke openly about anxiety and depression. The league created programs to support players. Every team now has a licensed mental health professional. Paul George himself has talked about anxiety in the past. During the 2020 bubble, he admitted he struggled mentally. That gives some weight to his explanation. He has been open before. This is not the first time he mentioned mental health. But critics say openness does not remove responsibility. If you are dealing with treatment, you must still follow league rules. That is the core of the debate. This suspension could affect his legacy. Paul George has been an all-star 9 times. He has been one of the best two-way players in the league. But he has also faced playoff criticism. Now this becomes another chapter in his story. If he returns strong and helps Philadelphia make a deep playoff run, this may fade over time. If the team struggles and exits early, this suspension will be remembered as a turning point. The Eastern Conference is competitive. Boston is strong. Milwaukee is dangerous. Miami always fights. Losing 25 games from a star makes climbing the standings harder. Inside the locker room, trust matters. Teammates must believe that everyone is doing the right thing. When a suspension happens, it can create tension, not necessarily anger, but disappointment. They must now regroup and focus. For Paul George personally, this period will test him. He cannot play. He cannot help on the court. All he can do is train privately, stay in shape, and prepare for return. He must also rebuild public trust. Fans are divided. Some support him fully. They say everyone makes mistakes. Others are less forgiving. They believe players at that level should know better. The truth likely sits somewhere in the middle. He made a mistake. The league punished him according to the rules. Now the next chapter depends on how he responds. When he steps back onto the court in late March, the spotlight will be intense. Every shot will be analyzed. Every stat line will be compared. If he struggles, critics will be loud. If he dominates, supporters will say he answered the doubt. This moment could define the final years of his career. At 35, there are not many seasons left at a high level. He must make them count. Philadelphia built this roster to win now. They invested huge money. They trusted Paul George to be part of a championship push. That goal does not disappear, but the road just became harder. In the end, this situation shows how fragile success can be in professional sports. One decision can change everything. One oversight can cost millions. One suspension can shift an entire season. Now, the league
Expect controlled minutes at first. Expect strategic matchups. They cannot afford another injury or setback. They need him fresh for April and May, not just ready for March. But here is the bigger picture. This situation could either fracture the team's chemistry or strengthen it. Sometimes adversity brings teams together. When a roster faces criticism and doubt, players rally around each other. Embiid has carried heavy expectations for years. Maxey is still proving he belongs among elite guards. If they can hold the team steady during George's absence, it could build confidence heading into the postseason. And when George returns, he may come back with something to prove. Athletes often respond best when doubted. If he feels his name has been dragged through headlines, that can fuel him. The question is whether that motivation translates into consistency. There is also a long-term financial angle. Philadelphia invested massive money in him. A suspension does not void that investment, but it does raise questions about durability and reliability. At 35, teams expect professionalism at the highest level. The margin for error shrinks as players age. Front offices think in multi-year windows. One suspension might not define his contract, but repeated issues would. That is why this moment is critical. This must be the only violation. There cannot be a second strike. Around the league, executives quietly watch how organizations handle adversity. If Philadelphia manages to stay competitive and reintegrate George smoothly, it shows stability. If things fall apart, it raises concerns. Another factor is public perception. Paul George has always had a complex relationship with fans. He has been praised for his smooth game and criticized for playoff struggles. This adds another layer. Some will attach this suspension to past narratives about inconsistency. Fair or not, that is how sports culture operates. But history shows something important. Players have returned from 25-game suspensions and rebuilt their image. DeAndre Ayton returned and continued his career without long-term stigma. John Collins returned and played productive seasons. Over time, performance replaces headlines. Winning erases memory. If Philadelphia makes a deep playoff run and George plays a key role, this moment will fade into a footnote. If they collapse early, critics will circle back to it. There is also the human element. Behind the contracts and headlines is a person. If he truly was seeking mental health treatment and made a mistake in that process, that speaks to how complicated modern professional sports can be. Players live under constant scrutiny. They deal with pressure, expectations, social media, and constant travel. The NBA promotes mental health awareness, but the rules around medication are strict. Balancing those two realities is not always simple. Still, accountability matters, and he has publicly accepted responsibility. That is step one. Step two is discipline. Every supplement must be cleared, every treatment verified, no assumptions. Step three is performance. When he returns, fans will not want explanations anymore. They will want production. They will want scoring. They will want defense. They will want leadership. That is how redemption works in professional sports, not through interviews, but through results. The Eastern Conference race will likely be tight down the stretch. Every game will impact